Why did this Korean American man who achieved the American dream, living a grand and luxurious life in New York City, decide to leave it all behind and move to live here in Thailand? Hey guys, my name is V, and on Hello Stranger for tonight, my roommate is Paul Lee, who I'm sure you guys have seen before on social media. So today, we're gonna take a deep dive into his journey and find out why he prefers to live here in Bangkok, Thailand, rather than in New York City. All right, let's go guys. Hello, stranger.
Hello, stranger.
It's good to see you.
See you, bro.
I've been seeing you around on my social media a lot.
Yeah, that's kind of my thing now.
I like to joke around like you, Mike, you, and Joyce. You're like the three like holy trinity of expat influencers in Bangkok right now.
Yeah, I guess I feel like we're all kind of like wholesome and kind of positive. I feel like, yeah.
For sure. And I wanted to ask you first thing. One of your videos on TikTok and Instagram is you reacted to a ChatGPT roast of yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So you asked ChatGPT to like look at your social media page and then give you a roast?
Yeah, I was actually pretty thrown off by like how accurate it was, like how human-like it was. And it kind of gave me a little bit of a humbling feeling as to like what other people might actually think. So it was a good experience.
Yeah? Did your feelings get hurt from the AI?
No. It was actually pretty funny, but I was thrown off by how accurate, yeah. Like
but like in a lighthearted way, you know, you could say that that might be the perception of you, like of Thai people who might not know you and just see your social media page, see that, you know, oh, this foreigner guy living in Thailand, he has such a great life, like everything looks perfect. So the big question is, what do you actually do here in Thailand?
So I just live here in Thailand, you know. I'm not out to do anything or accomplish these big goals or big dreams. I've just really settled down here and I really live according to my values and I really like to live day to day, just have good relationships, keep myself busy with work and with purpose and just really have a good life. And in terms of work, I do content and then I also have an online community, like an online business where I basically teach people how to become digital nomads, how to travel, because a lot of people, they kind of dream of this as like some sort of fantasy of like traveling all the time, having this freedom. But I mean, it's actually quite like realistic. It's not that hard to attain. All you have to do is just make some online income and then get the visas and then you're good, you know? So I kind of guide people through that.
This term digital nomad is definitely trending nowadays and a lot of people are looking to become a digital nomad like yourself. Like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, why are so many people wanting to become digital nomads nowadays?
I think the idea has always existed of people just wanting that freedom, you know, having their own schedule and being able to experience the whole world, essentially. And then this term digital nomad, it's been popularized, especially because a lot of jobs have been remote now. So it's really popularized that idea. But yeah, I think innately, a lot of people just want to travel. A lot of people don't want to sit at the cubicle, the 9 to 5, and sit and endure traffic all the time. So yeah, being a digital nomad is a realistic path to kind of escape that rat race.
Right. So before you became this digital nomad, I want to get to know a bit more about how you grew up in the States and like what led you to become like a digital nomad and an entrepreneur. So when you were a kid, like where were you actually born and grew up?
I was grown in the South. It's called Macon, Georgia. It's like a very small city, very poor city. Kind of ghetto, very southern, a little bit like rednecky, a lot of poverty. Yeah, so I kind of grew up there and then I worked my way up to move to Atlanta, Georgia, which is the capital. I went to university there. And yeah, ever since that point, I just really dreamed hard. I really wanted to climb to the top and then eventually made my way to New York City.
Oh, so when you were growing up, like, did you have any struggles or pains? Like, what motivated you to want to work hard and earn money like fast?
As a kid, I was just really bored. I just really wanted to put my attention towards something. And then I saw these young teenagers, young adults making like millions of dollars online, driving these Lamborghinis and this very flashy lifestyle. And as a kid, you know, as a teenager, that really appealed to me. I'm like, I want to achieve that lifestyle. And then I found out they did that by online businesses, such as like drop shipping, e-commerce, other businesses. So I decided in that moment, I'm not going to work this traditional 9 to 5 thing. I'm going to pursue all my efforts into working for myself, into being an entrepreneur. And so I started that journey around maybe 17, 18 years old.
Whoa. So how did you get into all that whole business world? Like, did you learn it yourself or did you have like anyone to guide you?
Like the school of YouTube.
Really?
Much, yeah.
You learned everything from YouTube?
Exactly, yeah, everything from YouTube.
So you mentioned that you like self-taught yourself about the world of business and drop shipping. Like, can you give me like a crash course for dummies? Like, so many people don't actually understand what drop shipping is and like how do you make money from it?
Yeah, so drop shipping is a very beginner-friendly business model. It's a little bit harder nowadays, but so basically all these products you see on Amazon or these websites, they're most likely coming from China. So with dropshipping, what it allows you to do is instead of buying this massive inventory, which is extremely expensive and very risky because you don't know if it's actually going to sell, what you do is you set up like an online shop. Let's say it's a beauty shop. You'll make a nice logo and have like feminine colors, make it look really nice, and list products that are currently selling very well, like trending, hot, popular products. For example, like a blow dryer or something. You list it on your website, then you either make a really good-looking advertisement, like a social media advertisement, or you can outsource somebody to do this, and then you post that on social media, either through organically or through a paid advertisement. So whenever somebody sees that video, that product of yours, they can buy it on your website. So let's say they buy it for $30. What I'll do is I'll go to a Chinese website, Chinese supplier, I'll buy it for $15, and then the Chinese supplier will ship it directly to the customer.
Oh.
So I don't have to, run the risk of buying a bunch of inventory, and I profit the $15. So that's essentially how it works. Yeah.
Whoa. So why did you mention that nowadays it's a bit harder to get into? Because everybody's starting to do it?
Yeah, it's expensive. The advertising, Facebook advertising, you have to spend a lot of money. You have to test a lot of products. For example, the blow dryer, you might spend $100 trying to get some customers, but what happens if there's no customers? Then you have to test the hair curler product. What happens if that doesn't work? Then you have to test the nail gel polish remover. So it's like you have to constantly test these new products. So yeah.
So when you were doing this, were you running all this by yourself or did you have like a team?
At the beginning, I started everything by myself, learned everything from YouTube, from buying courses, doing mentorships and things like that. And then I was actually getting quite successful, had good results, enough to quit my 9-to-5 job. And then I hired a huge team of about 10 people. And then I really scaled from there. And then that's what allowed me to move to New York City. And then I actually retired my dad as well. And then I taught other people how to do it as well. So I really made a name for myself in terms of being like an expert at e-commerce. I did it for 6 years, and then I just got burnt out. Yeah.
So what are some examples of like your best-selling products that you were selling when you were dropshipping?
Yeah, so one of my hottest products was like a fishing net. So
fishing
it's
net?
like you throw out this net and then just cast a huge net and catches like hundreds of fish. So that's what I used as my advertisement. Like this fisherman just throwing it out, and then within seconds he has like hundreds and hundreds of fish and he's reeling it up. So it's like very emotional,
Whoa.
So yeah, that did very well.
That's so like specific. Like how did you find out like that there was a demand or a market for this?
So I knew the fishing niche was actually very popular, very passionate niche. And then I did some research and a lot of people were selling this product as well. So I just decided to test it and had some really good advertisements and really emotional. And then I used Facebook advertising to target people who like fishing and fishing brands and stuff. So yeah, it was very successful. Yeah.
That's so cool. What other products can you think of that you used to sell a lot?
I used to sell this like cube. It's like a prism. So if you reflect light on it, it has like the whole room kind of shines light and stuff.
Whoa.
Yeah, and then also there's a sunset projector. You might know that. It's like a sunset lamp. It's very viral on TikTok.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, how do you like think of what product to choose to sell to people?
So there's a lot of different ways. First is just being a really good observer of consumerism. If a certain celebrity is talking about this trend, then you might want to fit that trend with a certain product. Or if, for example, like if pickleball is going really popular, you might want to sell a pickleball racket. So it's things like that. Some of it is intuition, some of it is research.
So you might have achieved this American dream, like living in New York and working there, but what was life actually like there?
Yeah, so at first it really was like a dream come true. It was always my dream to move to the big city and to have that like big city energy and just have so much opportunity and be surrounded by people going places and all this energy and this hustle bustle culture. It was really exciting for me because I had never grown up in that sort of environment. So when I went there, the first year was just really the time of my life. I was, going out, meeting people, making face, building reputation, making money, and doing all these things. And then slowly, I got sucked into the culture of like just excessive nihilism, just lack of purpose, just really felt empty. And I got a lot of these values that I never had before in my life, like these really superficial values, as in materialism, overconsumption, trying to impress other people, trying to look cool, look good. And I didn't really care too much about this stuff like growing up. But yeah, New York is such a competitive environment. So it's very doggish, very aggressive, and everybody's doing well. So it's like you always want to compete. So it kind of just drained me and exhausted me. And eventually I grew to like really want to leave New York. And not to mention it's extremely expensive. It's very dirty, very, people can be quite mean or quite straightforward. But there's a lot of good and bad about New York, for sure.
For sure. But also Bangkok is a huge city as well. But what do you think are some main differences between the culture and living in New York opposed to in Bangkok?
I think it's exactly that. It's the culture. You know, like I still like the metropolis feeling. I like to live in a big city, see all the beautiful skyscrapers, have a lot of things to do. I love that about Bangkok. But the biggest difference, I think, is Bangkok or Thailand is just more chill. It's just more relaxed. It's a lot more easygoing. Whereas in New York, I feel like everybody's trying to get to a certain place or become this certain person or do this certain thing. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen here in Bangkok, but it's a lot more human-like, I guess. And it's a lot more collectivist. Whereas somewhere like New York, it's hyper-individualistic.
Right.
And that has its pros and cons, but I think I really like that about Bangkok.
Oh, that's so interesting. And so how old were you when you were living in New York when you realized that I've had enough of this? And what was the big decision that made you want to move to Thailand?
Yeah, so I moved to Bangkok 4 years ago. So I'm 28 now. So I left at the age of 24. So yeah, so I was like 23, 24. I was living up in New York. And then, yeah, I just got depressed. Yeah, and I had anxiety. I was massively stressed. And a lot of these new problems that arose in my life, even though I was making more money than I ever made in New York, and still, even to this day, I made more money in New York than I do now. But I think what I've learned is that like true wealth is not just about money.
Wow.
And yeah, that was the biggest thing because I was getting very like mental health issues and I was not really happy, you know, even though I was making so much money, living in a great city or big city. Yeah, just prioritized my mental health. I was like, I need to leave. And also it was getting extremely expensive. Yeah.
Wow, that's a great thing for you to realize that at such a young age, right? At 24 to realize that. Yeah. Oh, so before you moved to Thailand, did you know much about Thailand and what were your actually like preconceived notions about Thailand?
I didn't really know anything about Thailand. I just knew that it was cheap, like cheaper than America, of course. And yeah, I felt like it had a pretty good opportunity of like offering a metropolis kind of big city life experience, being affordable, and a good culture, good people. That's kind of roughly what I knew about it.
So when you first moved to Thailand, did you know that you wanted to live here and settle down here?
No, not at all. Like the first idea was just becoming a digital nomad, just basing myself here in Thailand, then going to Vietnam, going to Philippines, Korea, Japan, everywhere, just living this very nomadic lifestyle. Like I had no intentions of settling down. And actually at first, I thought I was going to go back to America. You know, I never decided to up and leave America. I was just like, I want to take a break, live abroad for a couple months and then come back, you know. But I was like, once I was here in Thailand, I was like, why do I need to leave? Well, why don't I just stay here?
Yeah, what were some things that made you decide like, oh, this is where I want to live now?
It just offered everything I liked about New York, as in like the energy, the exciting things to do, the opportunities, without much of the cons. And it was very affordable for me at the time. And yeah, I just felt like I had a restart in my life. I had this like refreshing moment where I'm like, I can just restart. I don't have to be this person I was in New York. I don't have to have all the society pressures and I could just be completely free, you know? And that was really what made me like living here.
Wow. And you've been living here for 3 years now. What were some things in the beginning that you had to adjust or like some major culture shock moments?
I guess like maybe the language barrier was one. And then the time differences, you know, if I ever needed to talk to people in America, it's like 12, 13 hours difference. But aside from that, I think I adapted quite easily, especially here in Thailand the first time I was here. I was a single guy, I was going on a couple of dates and stuff. And they really just showed me like Thailand, like gave me a shortcut of like, here's how the BTS works. Here's, go to 7-Eleven, has everything, like all this.
So learn Thailand through dating.
Yeah, that's a pretty good tip, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. And you mentioned that actually you wanted to live in like different Asian countries, like in Philippines, Korea. But what do you think is like the pros or like the benefits of living in Thailand as opposed to other Asian countries?
To be honest, I haven't really lived in like anywhere else besides America and Thailand, so I can't really speak in terms of living, but I think in terms of why I chose Thailand over the other countries is because I think Thailand is a perfect balance between all of my needs, as in it's affordable, has good culture, good infrastructure, good reliability, and like good technology. It's up to date, as in like a lot of trends or a lot of like new technology, new events, new things, they're happening in Thailand. Like it's not they're not behind. Thailand is very on the forefront of development and like a lot of these things. So yeah, just ticked all the boxes and didn't really have any major cons. So.
Well, so now I wanted to talk to you a bit about your content. Like you do a lot of real estate content and like showing people like, oh, this is what like a 20,000 per month condo looks like. And it's super like nice. So I wanted to ask you like from the perspective of a foreigner, what is the difference of the quality of life or like condos in Bangkok compared to like in the States, for example?
Yeah, the condos are just going to be a huge shock to anybody who first comes to Thailand. I think a lot of people have this idea that Thailand is such a third world and it's like not developed. And not everywhere is developed, of course, as much as Bangkok. But when they come to these condos, it's just like unbelievable, Everything just looks super fancy, super luxurious.
And the standard's so high, right?
Yeah, the standard's so high. And as a Westerner, it's like $500 a month is insane. Renting a place... The average place for $500 in America, it's going to get you like a small shed, like not running water or something.
Really?
Where you have to like share it with a bunch of roommates. So it's unbelievable. Yeah.
So could you afford a place in New York with the same price in Bangkok?
My apartment in New York, it was like a luxury apartment. I was sharing with 4 other roommates and my rent was $2,000.
$2,000?
Yeah, so that's 60,000 baht. Yeah, to live with 4 other guys.
What could 2,000 get you here in Bangkok?
Oh my gosh, like a mega penthouse, overlooking the entire city with like 5 pools, like 5 gyms, whatever. Yeah.
And so like for foreigners or expats that are thinking of moving to Bangkok, like what are some things you look for in a condo that maybe Thai people don't look for?
I'm not too sure what Thai people might look for, but I think with foreigners, especially first-time comers, they really want to get that experience of like living like a baller, just like, waking up, beautiful view of the city, going for a swim on the rooftop, getting a workout in, going to the sauna, like a lot of these fancy amenities. And especially first-time comers here to Thailand, they don't really care that the room sizes are considerably, like probably half or more than half the size of some like a Western apartment. So they don't really mind living in basically like a shoebox, like 35 square meters, because they get access to all these crazy amenities and stuff. I think the longer you live here, you prefer a larger space, because after a while, the luxury amenities and stuff, they're not really, kind of get old, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
And some areas in Bangkok, like especially like the Sukhumvit area, is known for being very international, having a lot of expats. Like, what are some of your personal favorite neighborhoods in terms of like to live in, maybe as an expat?
So right now I live in Thong Lo. I think it's probably one of the best. Yeah.
Probably like right in the center.
Yeah. It's not as hectic as like Asok and Phrom Phong, but it still has quite good accessibility to all the different neighborhoods, and it's a little bit more chill, I think. And it's very chic, very like a lot of nice cafes, bars, restaurants, things to do. It's not overrun with tourists, and I think it's a very nice premium neighborhood, I think. Yeah, but if I wanted to a neighborhood that's a little bit more chill, I'd say maybe like Ari. That's a really nice neighborhood.
So would you recommend a foreigner to like live near Sukhumvit area or not necessarily?
I think a first-time comer should definitely live in Sukhumvit to kind of get in the middle of it all, to kind of experience it all. And most things happen in Sukhumvit. And then after a while, they might get tired of the noise, the chaos and stuff, so they might want to go on the outskirts, but yeah.
And also another type of content you make is like explaining the actual cost of living here in Bangkok. So the question is like, is Thailand actually cheap? Because to foreigners, Thailand could be cheap for like the value you're getting for your money, right? It's like, what do you think about that? Like your monthly expenses?
Actually, I don't think Thailand is cheap, to be honest. I think a lot of foreigners judge it compared to like Western prices. And if you're judging it to Western prices and Western salaries, it is cheap. But compared to the average Thai salary, it's honestly quite expensive, especially in Bangkok. So that's something I've really learned throughout my years of living here. Like I used to be like, oh, everything's so cheap, 1,000 baht, oh, give me like 10 of these things or whatever, like 1,000 baht for food, oh, that's such a good deal, and then realizing it's actually really expensive. And if people are moving to Thailand just to save money, I don't think Thailand is the cheapest option. I think they could go to Cambodia or Vietnam, they'll save a lot more money. So Thailand's not that cheap. But I think it's a good value. For the money you're spending, you can get some really good value. Yeah.
And a lot of people are curious about foreigners like yourself because, the government has a lot of programs inviting people to move here. I know about like the Muay Thai visas. There's like learning Thai language visas. Like what kind of visas do people actually move here with?
I'd say for short to medium long term, they have the tourist visa. You can stay for 60 days. You can renew that, stay up to 90 days. And then they have other long-term visas like the education visa. You can renew that annually and attend Thai classes. Or they have the new one that's the DTV. It's like a digital nomad visa. And that is probably one of the best visas, I think, right now. So you pay 10,000 baht and you can stay for 180 days and then renew it for another 180 days in the calendar year and then do that for 5 years. So 5 years just like that, it's really, really attractive visa.
So this is the kind of stuff that you're helping people with like online, right?
Yeah. So with my online community, they want to move to Thailand. I pretty much share with them my agents, my resources, like how to get this visa, how to get this condo, and how to make money online and things like that.
Oh, that's so cool. And now that you've actually lived here for 3 years now, you've absorbed a lot of the culture. Like, do you feel like you've changed like personally because of Thai culture, maybe like superstition or like the way you view relationships or anything?
I think the biggest difference is now I've realized before what I was actually pursuing, like all this wealth, all this success and everything like that, what I was actually pursuing was the idea of freedom and the idea of having peace and being in a good culture, being in a good environment, having time, having good health. These are a lot more things that I've realized here in Thailand. And I've realized that having a simple life is actually a really good life. You don't need to have this super grand, luxury kind of like really grand lifestyle like I had in New York to have a good life, And it might kind of sound contradictory because I'm talking about like I'm living in this luxury condo and stuff. I mean, these things are nice, but it's not the purpose. It's not necessary. The condo I live in right now, it's not a luxury condo. It's an old condo. It's like 20, 30 years old. It doesn't have a nice swimming pool. I prefer that, Like when I first came here, I liked the luxury feeling and stuff. But I'm like, actually, it's not really necessary. So yeah, I learned that simple life is a good life and don't need much to be happy.
And do you ever regret or miss anything from the US after you've left?
To be honest, not really. Yeah. Like, cause everything I liked about America, I still have them here, So there's not really any major reasons I want to go back to America. I think America has a lot of great things and a lot of great places, great people, good culture, a lot of good things about it, but it's not, I don't need to I don't reminisce too much about it.
And have you dabbled in learning Thai yourself?
Yeah. So I try to study Thai twice a week.
Oh, พูดได้ไหม
พูดได้นิดหน่อยครับ
พอเข้าใจไหมครับ
เข้าใจพอ
Have you tried to learn Korean as well?
Yeah, I mean, not really. Not really, to be honest. Because I don't see myself living in Korea and I don't really speak Korean that much. So I put more effort into learning Thai, even though I'm a Korean.
Yeah, so ethically you're Korean, but what do you think are some pros of living in Thailand compared to living in Korea? Like, what do you not like about living in Korea?
I've never lived in Korea, so I can't say too much. Yeah, so I think Korean culture is a lot more competitive. It's also very expensive. And I just don't really want to live in this very competitive society where I have to impress my peers, where I have to climb up the ladder, where I have to make face, where I have to, play these social dynamics of, you know, respecting my elders in order for them to get me in a position or to do favors for me, or like, I feel like a lot of that exists in Korean culture, and there's a strong sense of lookism. So it's like you have to look the part, you have to speak good, everything has to be really good, like high standards. And I don't really want to play that game. But who knows, you know, maybe I'll live in Korea one day. I don't know, you know. And I don't know if I'll live in Thailand forever too, to be honest. Like, I'm still figuring it out. I'm just living here day to day. I really like it. So we'll see.
Yeah, like talk about your future plans. Like, are you planning to live in Thailand for the foreseeable future? Like, how long do you see yourself staying here?
Man, I think I'll probably base myself here for the long run, you know. That's the goal right now, at least. I just want to stay here as long as I can, while still being a digital nomad, still traveling abroad, still seeing new cultures, and not just limiting myself to just Thailand, Thai culture, Thai food. I want to really expand and really witness the rest of these other great countries.
Yeah. But as a foreigner who's moved to Thailand and, you know, you're loving it, like, what kind of advices or tips would you give to people who are looking to do the same?
I'd say you're never going to be 100% ready. And I'd say you really have to be comfortable going outside of your comfort zone, trying new things, trying new food, meeting new people, and just really trying to have an open mind to it all, you know, because you're in a new environment. Everything is foreign to you, you know. You can't just rely on your same friends, same circle of relationships. Everything is new. So you really have to be a sponge and just, you know, soak it all up and really have a good positive outlook. And lastly, I wanted to ask you, like, what do you dream of? Is there like a big goal or something that you wish would happen in your life in the future? I just want to continue what I'm doing, you know, working, making money, having good relationships, having good health, and just keep doing that and really sustain myself, you know. And that's really it. I just want to be able to travel and have freedom, have a nice house, have a nice backyard, have multiple dogs, have children, and that's it. You know, it's not like some crazy goals. Like, I want to reach $1 million in my bank account, or I want to have a Ferrari. I don't really have like goals like this. I just want to do what I'm doing, keep doing it better, and sustain it, and that's it. Yeah.
And you could totally see yourself doing that here in Thailand.
Exactly.
All right, it's so nice to talk to you, man.
Yeah, man. Nice. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.